Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have decided today to share something with you that I teach in the nature craft classes that I do. As most of you know, we RV a lot during the spring and winter months here in Florida. And when we do, we volunteer at different parks like state parks, federal parks, county parks, and so forth. So, I teach a nature craft class, and part of that is nature prints, but the best part is faux nature paper. It is simple to do. I've got a napkin here I'm trying to separate while I'm talking. It is very simple to make. There are only very few precautions. So I'm going to take apart this napkin. And normally, you know, depending on the age that I have in the class, I let the people do this themselves. But if any of you do work with children or adults, and you teach different crafts, this is a cheap, easy one to do. Now I'm saving this bottom piece, but I want this center piece because 9 times out of 10, your center piece is going to pick up some of the print off of the first one. And that's what I'm hoping for here. It's not real noticeable, but it is a faint print, and I did get some. And this is the napkin I'm using, so you can see why I'm hoping I got some of the print. It's probably not going to show on camera very well, but yeah, there is a lot of the print on here. So I'm happy about that. Okay, you take this one, don't throw it away. Set it aside, you may need it. Now, I use Mod Podge, but when I'm teaching the class, I use 3 parts Elmer's glue and 1 part water, just because it's less expensive and they don't pay for anything I do. So, but for this purpose, I'm going to be using Mod Podge. And I'm going to show you, you just take your Mod Podge and get your paper really wet with it. You don't want it so wet that it's tearing, but you want it wet. And this is my decoupage brush, guys. I just happened to grab it because it was with the Mod Podge. And this one's going to be an easy, simple one. Now, we dry our own herbs here. We dehydrate a lot of herbs. So what I have here is dehydrated onion. It's an Italian mix. I have some oregano, rosemary, sage, thyme, and parsley. I have it all mixed in. But you just want to sprinkle it around on your paper. You don't want to try to make a pattern. You just want to sprinkle it around. Get a good generous amount on there. Oh, that's going to be too big. Now, you don't dry your own herbs, that's fine. Go to the Dollar Tree and look for the Italian dressing, because it's got a lot of different, the Italian seasoning. Here I have some wildflower birdseed, and they also sell this at the Dollar Tree. You can make a whole lot of paper with that little box they sell over there. And it's $1. I'm just going to mix that in. And again, I'm not trying to make a pattern. Next, I'm trying to empty up all this thread off of these vintage spools, so I'm just going to take some old thread that really isn't good for sewing, because you can see it pulls apart so easy. And I'm going to just put it around on the page. You don't want to make a pattern. You don't want it to look like you've made a pattern. If you do make a pattern, just randomly put threads on the page. You can use eyelash trim, which mine's packed. You don't want to use twine or anything thick, because when you put that top layer of that napkin on here, anything thick you have put on there, it is going to rip it. And that is another thing with whatever you put on there dried. I have some dried flowers I normally will use, but right now it's packed up. So, just, just do random mess on the page. Use different colors of strings and twines. Black looks really good. And then take your top napkin. Now you want some paper underneath of this, and this is just colored copy paper. Push it as much as you can without tearing it to get as many of the air bubbles out as you can, because you don't want air bubbles. I saw someone else doing this on a video, and I said, wow, all these dried herbs we have, this is great. So, yeah. Then for your next, you want to very gently, just kind of tap it and get this top layer down. If you have air bubbles, just keep going over it. Just keep tapping it and they will go down. Because basically you're forcing the glue through this napkin to the paper below and forcing it to lay down. And don't worry about if it tears. I'll show you what to do with that in a second. And you'll see a couple of places, especially where the herbs are on the bottom paper, it kind of gets thick, the glue does, but try not to get too much glue on it. You just want to gently get it to go through. It looks really good with cream color or coffee dyes or a light green. If you're doing nature prints, it looks really good with those. However, all mine is packed up. Parchment paper, it looks really good. If you're doing it for your own use, parchment paper, I would say is the route to go. And if you look in the office supply section at Walmart, they sell a big package of parchment paper. It's really nice. And they also have resume paper that you can use. So, right now I only see the one little tiny tear right here. And you remember that little bottom piece of the tissue we didn't use? Where'd it go? It was right there. Just stick it over it and make like you're collaging. Just glue it down again and it will disappear into the other paper. Got a little air bubble there I'm trying to get out. And if you get an air bubble and it won't go out, go ahead and poke a hole in it and then just put the other piece collaged over top of it to cover it up. Yeah, it needs to dry, and I'm sorry again, my heat gun is packed up. By the time y'all see this, I'll already be gone, but yeah, there's an air bubble. I have everything packed that I wanted to take. And I just created an air bubble. That was smart. So I'm going to end this and let this dry, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. A tip. I use some ground the seasoning on here, and I don't like it. It looks muddy to me. I mean, it'd be okay to make like a nature tag. I didn't put anything but the ground and the string on here. I could probably make tags or something with this, but I'm not happy with it. So anyway, don't use the ground. Get the whole pieces. And we're going to let this dry, and then we'll be back. Hi again. These are just about completely dry. This is one I had done earlier. And as you can see, I used some dried leaves, and they're not laying down well. So what I'm going to have to do with this is to cut it right up under the leaf and put glue up under it and put it back down again. But normally, if you're using dried leaves, go ahead and crush them up really fine. You don't want any jagged points like this sticking up, because you can see that also created an air bubble. So, you know, this gives you an idea of what it could look like, but I wouldn't use the dried leaves unless you dry them yourself and they have maintained their colors. But once they're this brown, they're not going to work well. So remember I told you to keep a piece of paper underneath it? Now I'm going to show you how to get it off. Just cut around the edges of the white. And this one, I can already tell, it does not have a very good seal all the way around it because of the leaves. So, you know, if I want to keep this one, I'll have to do some work on it. Just make sure you're cutting on the white to cut it away from the bottom piece of paper you used to glue it. And it comes right off because it's not glued to it. So yeah, I'll have to do some major work on this one if I want to use it. Here is the one we did on camera. It's not all the way dry. I'm seeing that the dehydrated onion does create some air bubbles that I'm going to poke pinholes in it and glue over top of it again with just little tiny pieces of the napkin that I kept. But I'm going to cut off that back piece. And actually the decoupage, that's why I say use parchment paper if you can. The decoupage has made it, this little copy paper, a little stiffer. And I don't put this through my cutting machine. I use these old scissors because I don't want to get the glue on it. And these, we have a grinder, so I can just take them out in the garage and grind it and get it all off and sharpen them at the same time. There's the back piece off of it. It's not all the way dry, as you can see. It's still got a lot of white places, but this one's coming out right pretty, I think, because you can see the dark thread, you can see the green, you can see the blue, and the bottom half isn't dry. But I think the dehydrated onion is a mistake. I wouldn't use that because it is, you know, it is going to raise it up some, and you're going to have to come back and punch holes everywhere that you have the dehydrated onion. And as far as the leaves go, if you crumble them up really fine, you can use the brown ones. But if you put a flower or a leaf between two pieces of a paper towel, and I just put a plate on top of it. A lot of people put bricks on them. I'm kind of funny about putting a brick in my microwave. So I just put a a plate on top of it to hold it down. And you microwave it for 2.5 minutes and check it. If it's dry enough, take it out. It depends on how, powerful your microwave is. If it isn't, do it for 30 seconds at a time. And once it's the consistency that you want, that you can work with, take it out. Now when you're drying flowers, lay them with the center facing up. Don't lay them kind of sideways because they're going to dry lopsided. You want them with the center facing up. And then just put that plate right on top of it and it'll smash it down. Or you can use a saucer. You can use a cutting board if you have a wooden one. I'm not so sure about the plastic ones in a microwave. I'm just funny about toxins and germs and all. But yeah, I kind of like this one. I kind of like this one a lot. And once it dries and I get these extra bubbles around here out, and it may even dry a little closer to the paper. I'm going to wait and see. But, I want to end this video because I still have a little bit more packing to do. But this will make some lovely tags and, windows. You can take these and if you say you have your tag made and you make a top match for that tag and then put this section here with a window in it, that would be lovely. So yeah, it's just an idea, just some samples. So I hope you all will try and make them, and I hope you enjoy doing it. And don't forget, if you put a dry flower on there, cut it up. Do not put a whole flower on there, because that napkin is going to tear to pieces. Just, cut little pieces all through it to put color on your paper. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.